we had everybody's wants to talk about offensive philosophy around here. What can you describe yours? Do you have a philosophy?
Yeah, do what the defense doesn't think you're going to do. So, never really just try to be different and be sound. And I've been coached a long time, and just really excited to work with Coach Frost. Just been really, really great. The little time we've been together, he's had exit interviews, and so I'm kind of a feel guy. I've been a lot of places, but the one thing that struck me was when you walk into the facility, there's no feeling that it's a 3-9 team. There's a positive feedback. The kids have been really good that I've met, and so that part is trying to build the culture. And I just been really impressed in the little time I've been here.
Scott said he's known you for quite a while. I guess, can you give us maybe a little bit of insight into how you've known him? I know coaching is sort of a small.
Well, it really goes back to when I was the coordinator in '86, '87 at University of New Hampshire. There was a guy named Chip Kelly that just graduated. And Chip was around all the time, and when he was at New Hampshire, I was at UMass, I was at New Haven, he was at Brown. We always got together. Then he went to Oregon. I met Scott, I think, the first time when they played the national championship against Auburn, and you just follow people, and I'd see them out a little bit, and I always watched their tape. I was always impressed, and just kind of wasn't like overnight. So it's been a while that way. Now we had met each other, spent a lot of time together, but there wasn't like, oh, who's that guy? So it goes way back then.
I think when maybe football novices look at it, they think about Scott's system or that Chip Kelly system as being substantially different than yours. I mean, is that how you see it, and how do you think the ideas will meld together?
I definitely think they'll meld together. I mean, we've got a lot of respect for one another. You use concepts from different things you see. I always watched the top colleges. I've always watched the NFL teams in the off season, and it's just been. When we talked, was really good, just really good. So we'll see what it's going to be.
After the year you had at Pitt, why here?
It's Nebraska. I was a young guy growing up in Arizona, and used to play in the Fiesta Bowl when I was coaching, and I'd always go back. My parents' house was there. I didn't have any money, so we'd take our kids, and Ronnie Brown and I were classmates at Brown, so I'd go over and watch practice when they were in the Fiesta Bowl with about 150 kids and trucks all over the place in Scottsdale community, and everybody had red Nebraskas on their antennas, and kind of took over the town. So I just was really impressed, just the fans, and they stayed late, and just so I saw it firsthand, and I was at the Nebraska-Arizona State game when Arizona State upset them one year in the Fiesta Bowl, and I don't know, I've always been a fan of college football, just football in general, and to me it's one of the icons. I remember being in my Thanksgiving on Johnny Rodgers taking a punt back. I was young in the backyard in Phoenix, Arizona, whatever grade that was, 6 or 7, 71, right? Just Jerry Taggy, or played quarterback, 14. I don't know. I coached at Miami. There was a great respect for Nebraska at Miami. From the guys coming back and all things that way. I've heard Coach Osborne speak at conventions, and just a lot of class throughout. So I don't know. I'm a guy that likes challenges. I've been everywhere, done anything, but I hadn't been in Nebraska. So it's like I hadn't coached in the Big Ten. So why not?
Is there anything a Big Ten offense has to do that, specifically for this conference, or do you counter program and do something that they're not doing? What do you think about the conference style?
Well, no. I mean, Ryan Day was a GA for me at UMass. His brother played quarterback for me. Ryan went to New Hampshire. I mean, You watch what they do. They're the number one offense. You know, study those guys. Kevin Wilson's a good friend. You know, you study all of them. Donnie Brown's one of my best friends. Was at Michigan, so you just Paul Chris was at Pitt. My son was a GA 3 years. Got a lot of respect for his program. Kirk Ferentz is a Pittsburgh guy. I've known Kirk for a long time. Kind of leaning him off. You know, Brett Bielema, I've talked to a bunch. I saw him when I was at UMass. He was with the Patriots. We had breakfast together, so probably missed his call. My son went to Penn State for 2 years, my youngest, with Billy O'Brien, who was a GA for me. So I don't know. I just never.
So it'll probably be more personally motivating for you to coach on the opposite side of the ball as well.
I don't know. I guess it's just, you know, I just think there's a great passion. You know, I think probably the passion for football is, you know, right there with the SEC. You know, so it's, I don't know, just seemed like a good place, and Scott was really the reason. You know, I haven't gone back that far and just watched what they've done, and you know, I got into coaching to help people. You know, when I left Brown, you know, so I just think I can help here.
What does a quarterback that plays for you have to have?
Be a leader, a winner, tough. Work at it. You know what I've seen from these guys so far. I haven't been around here that much, but I get a chance to meet them all. Talented. You know, it's always nice to coach talent. So, but I had a bunch of guys, and you know, obviously Ben, you know, was really nice at Pitt because I got 3 years with Kenny Pickett, and I hadn't had 3 years with a starting quarterback since I had Ben Roethlisberger. Ben and I are really close. Called me Tuesday, and you know, we see each other because the Steelers facility and Pitt are together, so that was really great for 3 years. I got to see his kids. I was at his wedding, and you know, so that. You know, I got to coach in a Pro Bowl, which I was lucky, and I had a pretty good week. I was a pretty good quarterback coach. I had Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees, so I didn't screw that one up. So hopefully we can move forward that way. Matter of fact, Drew tried to almost. I was in his house. It was between Brown and Purdue when I was head coach at Brown. So I played the position. You know, and I've been around a lot of really smart offensive coordinators. Bruce Arians, I learned a lot from. Going way back, some of you guys. Roman Gabriel was a mentor for me. Andy Reid, we use a lot of stuff that way. Mike Holmgren, Pat Shermer had things that way. So, you know, so I try to gear the offense to the quarterback, and everybody's different. So, if the second guy goes in, he's not going to have the same plays as the first guy. So, I coach those guys separate in the spring, and you know, so it's same. So that's just. You know, so there's really no size, height. We're not in the NFL because you said you got Drew, you got Russell Wilson was, you know, a small guy. Ben's a big guy. Peyton's big. Nobody wanted Tom Brady, but you watch what Tom does, and you learn a lot from just a week of coaching those guys, how competitive they are. So I'd probably go back and say one thing is competitive, that those guys are, excuse my French, but they're pricks. And I've never really seen a winner at the quarterback position be a nice guy. And that's really what it looks down to, back to the competitive nature that they instill, and that's what Kenny did at Pitt, and bringing that out of them, and, you know, and then being honest with me as a play caller is, I don't need really yes men there. I need you to tell me the truth. What do you like and don't? I have enough stuff. Scott's got enough stuff, so we want to gear it to those guys so when the play comes in, they feel confident and they can exude that to the other 10 teammates on the field. And so there's a relationship that's built and between the play caller and the quarterback, and the time that you spend afterwards, the time you spend with the starter that's different than the second and third. But in this day and age, it just seems like guys getting hurt more. I think the game's much faster. And so you got to get more than one guy ready in the way you prepare. And that's from the top of the NFL to down, and that's what we'll do here.
Mark, how do you follow it up on your comment about the nice guy at quarterback? How do you balance that with having a quarterback that teammates respect and can lead effectively with the personality that you're looking for?
Oh, I think I asked people around the building, and I may watch them. I think it's the same as recruiting. I don't really listen to the coach. So here, it's like I go to the custodian, go to the science teacher, go to the woman counselor. What do they think of the kid? You know, that's not their job. It's the coach's job for those guys to get scholarships. So it's the same thing you do in the NFL. The NFL sends out the FBI. You get the report. Guy's retired. Okay, got parking tickets. He's got that. You know, so that whole thing. He's representative of everybody, and where's the end? So there's just things you look at that way. I shouldn't have to worry about him class check. I shouldn't have to worry about study hall. I shouldn't worry if he's on the cusp of failing a course. That's, you know, those are things that are just standards that you have throughout. And you know, I think Coach Frost and I are on the same page. You know, that way. And he's played the position high level, won at a big time, and you know, just those kind of things always just stayed with me since I was coaching and started in 1979.
Both the scholarship guys that are here are obviously really young. Logan played a little bit this last year. How much can you, based on the film and I guess it's probably mostly practice stuff, like how much can you learn about them?
You know what I told the guys, and I've always done this, I'll go back and watch stuff, and when I met with the offense real quick, because they're in finals, was, hey, look, everybody's got a clean slate, you know? And I always did that when I took over programs. I'm trying to remember when I was at a place that had a winning record where I went. You know, I don't think it's ever happened. People think of Steelers, we were 6-10, brought a rookie quarterback in. So it's like I'm going to judge you, all right? And I'll get feedback, but I want to see how you go, and that's why I've been really impressed in the couple days with the players around, just seeing how they handle themselves and walk down the hallway. So, you know, as I said, they got a clean slate, and some people don't do that. When I took over programs, I took over UMass, they were 2-9. Find out we need some more players, but the attitude, we won a national championship the next year. It's, you know, you got to set standards, but those things are already here. You know, the way they play and everything else, and so, you know, it's to me, it's that I coaching to help people, and I'm lucky I've coached at every level, and guys always want to, and I told them, they always want to know about the NFL, and everybody thinks the NFL is the greatest place in the world, but it's got its issues and problems. But I'll help anybody here. Here's what it's like, and that's the same. You know, I know the difference between the three places I coach in the NFL. You know, and I've always believed, and probably I was lucky to work with the Steelers and the Rooney family. And Dick LeBeau said it best. He said it's different here when you know that you can trust. That's why they won 6 Lombardis, and that carried over to the University of Pittsburgh as we shared the facility. So that's the same thing that I think what I've seen in the little time I've been here is the same kind of feel.
How did you sort of size up, you know, Scott when he's making his offer to you, and how quickly were you sold on who he is and his vision here?
I don't know. There was time. It just, you know, we just got together. As I said, it wasn't like. I knew the system, and said going back, and New Hampshire system used to come down when I first got to Brown, which I'm on 1995, and Chip was there and that. And then I was at UMass. He was the offensive coordinator, and we played golf, the golf tournament. His roommate from college worked for me for 6 years in New Haven, 4 at Brown, UMass, 15 years, 16. We were both together. It was unfortunately his funeral, but so that part carries over, and just following it. As I said, I kind of always had I told, you know, back when I was the first-year head coach, probably the biggest win of my career was when we beat UCF at 1988. You know, we got beat by Central Connecticut, 21-14 at New Haven. I was head coach in New Haven. We went to Central Florida, won. And I saw how that program rose and what they did, and I always just kind of followed that. So watched all the things there and how they did. I remember, hey, you know, they knocked the crap out of Joe Burrow in the Fiesta Bowl. I watched that, you know, so I've seen how he's gone about his business. And I think we think alike and, you know, are good character people. And you just kind of, you know that this thing could work.
What are the challenges just to get this figured out? You play week 0, you got to get a quarterback in your system in, and you're going to see Pat Fitzgerald's defense right out of the gates. I mean, just what are the challenges you face kind of getting all this figured out, taking a team to Ireland in August?
Yeah, I've been to Ireland, so it wasn't to play football, just to play golf. So go to Dublin, play Portmarnock, but no, I mean Northwestern's so far away, and I know the schedule, but that's like, hey, it's the next day, It's like the first day of practice. I'm not going to say good or bad. I'm going to say, hey, that's the standard the first day. Now let's see what you do the second day. So it's building on it. We have a lot of novel ideas and things that way, and you don't know the players and how they go about it. So, we'll figure it out. It's not the first time you come into a program. You just watch how the players play. That's the first thing. They play hard, and there's a great deal of respect. I mean, I just didn't talk to Coach Frost. Talk to people that I know in the Big Ten. There's a great deal of respect. So, there'll be some down days. There'll be some up days. And, I've always kind of been even keel. And probably since I went to the NFL, when you're playing a ton of games, and then. So that's different than playing 12, or this year we played 13, in Pitt, and so I know I'm not really answering the question. I don't know. I haven't been in Nebraska, but I put my stamp on it. My door's always open, and as I said, I like kids. I like people. So that's. My wife said I got something to give, and people thought when I left UMass, she said you got a lot to give, and I proved out at Pitt, and I know I can. I believe I can help Nebraska, and I help Coach Frost and help these kids.
What did Scott say about letting you do it and staying out of your way?
No, I said we're going to work together. This is collaborative. This is like, you're a smart guy. You've had a lot of success. You've been the number 1 offense in Oregon. What you did at UCF. Like, I'm not. I don't have all the answers. There's days you need help. It kind of goes back to. Remember the Titans. At a certain point, you got to say, man, I need help. All right? He's done so. He knows these guys that way. So he'll be involved. We'll be both involved. We have been already. We haven't had much time, but just a little bit we're talking that way. And, I'm going to learn. We're going to keep a lot of the terminology the same. We're going to change some of it, I have some terminology that I've been using since 2008 when I was with Andy Reid in Philadelphia, and there's other ones I can learn. I had to change everything. The hardest year I've ever had in coaching was 2004 when I left UMass, and I'd been a head coach, I don't know, whatever, it was 15, 16 years, and had the same terminology. And had to flip everything and teach a rookie quarterback. Yeah. So you have to learn it, and I got to learn it one way, and then I got to teach the guy. This won't be as difficult as that. But we'll marry the things that way. We want our guys to play fast and feel comfortable, and then and honestly, when I kind of put the system in when I went to Miami, we played the championship game again. We lost to Arizona, and the next. I think I signed on, I don't know, whatever day it was right after that, and we started spring practice 8 days later. And we ended up being all right and beat Florida State 38-35 on Labor Day weekend, and I got more time now. So we're not going to start spring practice the 28th. I really like the schedule. I know some people say we're going to go 2 weeks, then we got the time off. I can review the things that way. Guys can get away. They can digest. We can talk and say, okay, here's the things we need. So that's like a half time of that. So I like that part of it, and but we're not starting till the 28th, so that's not like right around the corner.
If you get into the goal line situation, short yardage, how do you feel about about power football and trying to get in the end zone that way, or how do you?
Well, yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers is always going to be in my. We won a Super Bowl. And that's part of it. And Russ Grimm said it best. Good teams run the ball when the defense knows they're going to run it. So that's in my DNA, and that kind of always has been. But I also go back to what I said first. I want to do what the defense doesn't think I'm going to do. And you know, so that's what it is, and those things will come together, and you know, and as I said, yeah, I mean, you're building up. It's like, hey, to me, you build your offense to handle Michigan and Ohio State. When I was in the ACC, it was Clemson. What do we need to do to be Clemson? Okay, and Coach Venable does a great job. So that was, when I went there, when I asked the kids, what do we need? And they kicked our tail the year before down there, and we had some guys out, whatever the excuses, they played better, and we got a chance to, and that was the team. So I think it's the same thing now. We don't have Ohio State schedule, but we got Michigan. And they're in the Final Four. What do we need to do? How do we beat Michigan? And obviously how you beat Northwestern, but that kind of like, when you're in the NFL and you're in the AFC North and it's cold weather and the wind's blowing and you're in January, it might be 40 miles an hour, you got to be able to run the ball and the things that way. And whether you're going to win at Cleveland, which I coached 2 years, the Steelers, or Baltimore's tough and Cincinnati's cold, or you watch the Patriots all the years I was there. Brady did a great job. So, you know, we don't have to, as such, worry about that here. But you know, it's gonna. I know this year was good, but there's going to be some cold days that way here. And
It might be Wisconsin and Iowa here.
yeah, you know, we got to go back to Wisconsin up there, and Iowa. It's kind of, that's, you know, as I always said, it's Big Ten's at a disadvantage because you can't get any team from the South to come up here after October. Nobody will do it, so they're not going to. You know, the SEC schedule, and there's no bowl games north. You know, so that's why I think there's a little bit of a struggle. You know, but I just say, hey, Michigan's the champs, and I've always said you can't be the champ unless you beat the champ. Right. And the Michigan and Ohio State, that's who we're going after.
Did you know Donovan Raiola at all, or did you know of him? And what do you think about his style? I guess I know it's really early, but right off the bat.
No, Don, I knew his brother was a really good player here. I remember the name, but Jim Huber, the offensive line coach at Wisconsin for a long time, and Coach Don called me right away. And he coached Hube. I mean, Hube's coached him, and I've known Hube's for 10 years. Great things to say about him, you know. Just a great kid, great guy. I shouldn't say kid. He's a mentor. I mean, we've been together a little bit here, and that stuff. I just really like what he brings to the table and his attitude, and just can't wait to get his hands on the guys. And you know, see those guys coming. I walk by his office, doing all right. So I you know, as I said, I really haven't watched much last year's stuff. I just like the way he approaches, you know, day to day. I like the way he approaches his business every day.
What's your thinking about going into the portal to get a quarterback or quarterbacks?
Well, it's worked pretty well last few Heisman Trophy winners, right? I mean, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray's done all right. Yeah. Baker Mayfield. What, the kid that's in Chicago now, I forget his name, he left Georgia, Fields. They're all, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is now. I think there's a stat, you can quote me on it, I think it was 6 years ago, my assistant said this before, he said, hey, the top 50 quarterbacks in class 5 years ago, 45 of them have transferred. Mm-hmm. There's not many guys that stay, right? You know, so, you know, there can only be one, and I don't know, we had 7 quarterbacks at Pitt. I guess I was a nice guy. None of them wanted to transfer. But some days I wanted them to. Other days was fine, stay. But so I don't really know. You know, I just, you know, coaches change a lot. So the coaching changes a lot. And, you know, just kind of, I think you're seeing it at high school. You know, you were seeing it in some of these states. Had open, they could just go wherever they wanted to go. Okay, I'll play football here, I'll play basketball here. I think it started there, so it's gone into college. Will it happen in the NFL? I don't know. I mean, the NFL is different, but it's, you know, you got to stay there 4-year contract.
What I'm getting at is, are you looking for one now?
Yeah, we're always looking.
Okay.
Yeah, we're always looking. You know, whether a young guy or old guy. I mean, yeah, we're looking now. Okay. We're looking at other people. I've had a ton of calls. Okay. You know, once this comes through, yeah, I've had, you know, been doing it a long time, and you just see what fits and things that way, more than just the football, so we're taking calls, we're talking to people, and we're working at it.
Mark, the success you had at Pickett, how can you use that when you talk to a portal guy just to really sell what you want to do?
Well, I just tell him, call. Here's Kenny's number. Call Kenny. We're all, if you're not a good salesman in college football, you're not lasting very long. You got to recruit. But to me, it's honestly just talk to the guy at coach. Ask him, why did he come back to Pitt? What made him come back? Or how was our relationship? And I don't think he'll tell you.
Where did that? Scott mentioned that he's known you for a long time. Where did it start? Where did you guys meet?
Well, I think the first time we met was when the national championship game, when they were playing Auburn.
Okay.
I have a home in Scottsdale. I had a condo in Scottsdale. I was out there, and we went over to see Chip Kelly, who, when I was, had just left, graduated New Hampshire, I think in '84 or something, when I was an offensive coordinator in '86, '87. So that was part of it. There was friends of his and everything, just went over for a social thing that way.
Have you coached much option or a lot of zone read in your career? I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
there's always, things that way. Did a lot when I played, but, all those things are in.
Some of the stuff Scott did this year, I was curious for you to kind of maybe look and watch some of the different option elements.
Yeah, we've watched, we'll have it in that way. Got some guys that got some ability to run. Now Logan can run. Did some good things last year. So it's in the young guys. So, we're going to do it all.
How much do you think your experience and contacts and relationships can help with the quarterback portal if you want to go get a guy?
I think it helps. I mean, every kid wants to get to the NFL.
Right.
And Ben's the youngest quarterback. He won the Rookie of the Year and the youngest quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl, and I coached him. And Donovan McNabb, we were almost there, and we run a pro-style system, the terminology, the stuff that way. I worked with Andy Reid, and Mike Holmgren's got 4 Super Bowl rings. Did all right with Brett Favre. He's got 5, I should say. Sorry, Mike. But those things, I just everybody thinks the NFL is all that, and it is. It's really, really tough. And coaching college football is really tough at this level. But I just think the relationships are what's important. With a quarterback, it's different than any other. I'll spend more time with them. As I said, hey, I went to Ben's wedding. He's going to be at my funeral. Kenny, I'm going to his wedding. It's going to, I really don't go to many of the other. I have some favorite players all the time, but there's just more and I deal with their parents more. Dealt with Kenny's parents a lot, helping him. A lot of times he doesn't know, and I don't want him to know. And a lot of times it's a tough position, and so there's a lot of pressure here, and there's a lot of pressure in the NFL, and there's a lot of pressure at Pitt. So, you got to be able to they got to be able to have somebody they can trust and sound off and tell them the truth. And as I said, Kenny and I we've had some real good hard talks. So have Ben and I. But knowing that you got the guys back, I think is the most important thing that way. And honestly, that probably was, as a head coach for 21 years, and probably my last 3 years was just great with Kenny. It was great with Ben Roethlisberger. Colt McCoy just texted me this morning. It was great in Cleveland. My son's helping him there with the Arizona Cardinals. So it's just that's the fun part. That to me, that's down the road that you see. I hadn't seen Ben in like 3 years, and it's like we just started laughing, looking at each other like, remember what we did and the things that way. Be the same thing with Kenny Pickett. So that's whoever the next quarterback is here. That's 10 years from now is what I'm looking for. And kids don't realize it. They think it's going to last forever. And this is like happened so fast. I try to get them grounded that understand and enjoy the day every day. You're a college football player. You're playing at Nebraska. You're playing for the fans that love you. This doesn't happen, okay? This is, the allure. And, you got to have some laughs because it's the pressure part that way is keeping them grounded. It's got to be fun. When they walk in the building, it can't be, oh, here we go. Right? It's like there's enough things that way. It's you know, I go back to Kenny. It's just like he hated the media when I got there. I said, look, man, come here. You're a sophomore. You want to play in the NFL? I said, yeah. And you better learn to be yourself in front of the media. Because you're going to be the face of that town or that state and everything else. So, and he's become really good at it. You know, just be yourself in that way. So, you know, that's those are the fun moments. You know, yeah, seeing the touchdowns and all things, but it's the other part of the field that I think is what's really important.
When Kenny had the fake slide and he scored the touchdown, the camera cut to you and him on the sideline, and you were saying something to him, and I don't know if it was a praise or not.
Yeah, we didn't ever practice it. I said, nice job, kid.
Okay.
You know, it's just like, no, I don't, you know, we never practice. We do say we're going to slide early in the game. I don't want you to go head first, which you used to try to do all the time. I said, what are you doing? Okay, slide first, and then when you need the first down in the third, fourth quarter, you don't lose the 3 yards. You're too valuable to the team. So, yeah, in the summer we do some of those things to slide that way, but that was all him. That was his athletic ability and his sense, and he saw the guys, you know, and you know, so that just was his instincts up in his head. So,
Talking to one of your former quarterbacks, he said you coached them to get rid of the ball real quick. You don't want them getting sacked. You don't want them to get hit a lot.
Sacked. Yeah. Who was that?
Andrew Ford.
You talked to Andrew? Yeah, I talked to him the other day when I called down there. Yeah, there's guys that hold on to the ball. And then he get it done. You know, it's third downs and put a lot of pressure on them in that way to get it out and to process. And, you know, some guys are just natural. You know, nobody I've had, you know, in the time. Ben was just natural, you know. Kenny's got natural, but he was, you know, at first it wasn't as. So you got to know the play. And then you got to see it a bunch of different looks, and then you got experience, and then you got experience not just in a spring game, but in the game. So, but yeah, hanging on to the ball doesn't do anybody any good. So that's coaching, I think, and I think you know, training and that part.
All good, guys?
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.